things in my head one day. This stress and this life of being in a sport world, and also that then I started to read about this thing, you know, what's happening in families, and then I realized that most of the films show domestic violence in a poor family, in a non-educated family, and then you see it, yeah, it's so obvious, you know, the husband is always drunk and beats the wife.
Cost employers $7 billion a year in the U.S. domestic violence through absenteeism, lost productivity, presenteeism, and healthcare costs. And now the number is actually up to $8 billion. I read a Forbes article earlier today, which is quite scary. So not only is this a human issue, right? It's a community issue. It's a public health issue. It's a business issue. I mean, it's not always leads to physical abuse, but I mean, we're just making the case that emotional abuse is just as strong and just as terrible. But yeah, absolutely, it can lead to physical abuse as the isolation increases.
And what you said, sorry if I can interrupt, what I didn't talk about, the prejudgment.
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk a lot about in the film, what you just said, that's why I remembered that, you know, like sometimes we envy somebody, oh, she's so beautiful, she's so wealthy,
she has it all together, right? And social media doesn't help with that, right? I mean, who looks like a wreck on Facebook, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that's what you just said. Sometimes we don't notice. We envy that person, and we don't know what the hell she's going through.
It's true.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that there are many, many countries around the world where relationship education does begin very, very early on, and I believe that that's the key. But I have identified in the past 40 years basically 4 reasons why we have relationship success, or where we have situations where people are in domestic violence situations, including, of course, emotional, physical, sexual, legal abuse, because when we talk about domestic violence, we're usually coming in after the fact. It's usually a crisis intervention. My analysis of what we need to do. Number 1, okay, if each of us is not in a good place, emotionally and psychologically and psychiatrically, and that we're dealing with the depression and the anxiety and the early child sexual abuse and the traumas of the past and the substance abuse and all of these other things, we are not ever going to be able to sustain and maintain a healthy relationship. We have to be okay. If we're waiting for the prince or the princess on the horse to come and rescue us, and we're lonely and we're needy and we're upset and we're disappointed and we're feeling the pressure that we need to be in a relationship, which of course we do not have to be in a relationship to be able to have a successful, happy life, it is not going to happen. And
in terms of, first of all, thank you so much for the film, because domestic violence, no one understands domestic violence because you just don't get it. When I talk about power and control, people get it because I can break down what that power and control dynamic is. But that's an aside. Let me tell you who I am. My name is Hope Lizette Newton. I'm a mother of 3 wonderful children. I am a domestic violence survivor. I am not a victim. I do not deal with victimhood. I am the face of emotional abuse. There's one thing they say at Voices of Women Organizing Project, Battered Women's Resource Center, otherwise known as VAL. The most sophisticated batterer will never raise his hand to you. My battering was emotional abuse. And a lot of times people are not aware that they are in an abusive relationship. Most of us are in denial. You're absolutely right. Most people don't understand what a healthy relationship is.